last year, when I realised we'd all be entertaining outdoors more, I went and bought an electric patio heater called a Fatboy 2.4. If you're interested in finding out why I picked electric over gas, you can click a link to the video above. It's up there somewhere. Now, soon after I bought the Fatboy, I was persuaded to go and buy one of those awful Lazy Spa plastic hot tubs, which did lead to a slightly embarrassing moment when my wife got the Lazy Spa and the Fatboy a bit mixed up and told our babysitter, "Oh yes, Arlo, he's at the end of the garden under the ladyboy." Anyway, Heat Outdoors, which makes the Fatboy 2.4, got in touch the other day and asked if I'd like to review its latest outdoor heater, which I'm very relieved to hear is called the Empire. I jumped at it because we need another heater for when we sit at our garden table, and because, well, they did say I could keep it afterwards. Now, you might think that accepting such a high-value item would compromise my editorial independence. I'd like to reassure you that nothing could be further from the truth. I can tell you now, even before I so much as unwrap this thing, that this heater is a masterpiece of post-industrial design, bursting with useful features, and is without doubt the finest outdoor heater that money can buy. Whew, I'm glad I've got that off my chest. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and until the next time, I've been Arlo Guthrie. Let's unbox this thing and see what it's really like. A little later, I'm going to put my life in Heat Outdoors' hands and test its claim that it's perfectly safe to plug this thing in, switch it on, and spray it with water. I'm also curious to see how it compares to the Fatboy. By the way, if you enjoy this review, do press the subscribe button below. I've put this thing together and I have to say it was terribly simple. It took me about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour to bolt the two halves of the base together and attach them to the heater itself. And the first impressions are pretty good. I mean, it must be said, outdoor heaters are very rarely things of great beauty. But I think this one is pretty innocuous. It's certainly a lot more discreet than one of those big gas things with the umbrella things that go over the top. And let's face it, you're not choosing between one of these and a Henry Moore. As far as the features go, there's a real attention to detail here. In the bottom, there's a roller built into the base, which, coupled with the handle on the back, make it terribly easy to push it around the garden. It feels pretty stable. You'd be hard pushed to knock that over with the weight in the base. But there is a tilt mechanism built into it, so that if it does fall over, it switches off immediately. There's also a movement sensor here, which coupled with an eco setting means that if it doesn't sense any movement in front of it for about 4 minutes, again, it'll switch itself off. Further down, there's a flock on the front of the grill here, which means that you can put your hand on it accidentally while it's switched on and you won't get a cattle grid burn across the front of your hand. Further down still, there's a useful little cubby hole in the back here to store the cable in when it's not in use. And again, when you're not using it, it comes with this cover to keep it dry. So what's the heat like? Now, I wanted to be able to demonstrate this thing by having a load of people round for lunch, and then we could see who felt the heat around the table. But unfortunately, we're still a few weeks away from being able to do that. So in the meantime, I'll just have to do it myself. Now, it's 8 degrees outside today, not particularly warm, but not freezing. And this is a 6-foot table. So sitting where I am now, pretty close to the heater, it's comfortably, I'd say not hot, but warm. It's certainly not burning me. I wouldn't have to move away from it. Still getting quite a lot of warmth. Yeah, it's pretty subtle here. Yeah, I guess I'm getting more on my face here, so it's warmer still. Yeah, again, more heat on your face here, and that's warmer still. So I'd say the sweet spot is where I'm sitting now, actually, opposite the heater. The 2 seats there and there are the warmest, and then you're sort of okay here, and then the 2 seats either end, it's really pretty subtle. For the purposes of this test, I've sat the new Empire directly beneath my Fatboy 2.4 heater, which I bought from Heat Outdoors last summer. So let's see how they compare. Now, I switched the Empire on about 5 minutes ago to give it a chance to warm up, and sure enough, I'm feeling the warmth radiating from it. I'm about 6-7 foot away. It's not an overpowering heater, it's just a nice gentle warmth. So let's see how it compares with the Fatboy. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, the new Empire does come with a remote control as well, except this one's magnetic, so when you're not using it, you can just stick it on the side of the unit, which is another nice little design touch. Anyway, we'll switch that off, lest I blow every fuse in my house. And there we go, switch the Fatboy on, and yeah, very quickly I'm feeling the heat coming off that. And I'd say that's quite a lot warmer, probably 20-30%, which is a surprise actually, because the Empire's rated at 3 kilowatts, whereas the Fatboy is 2.4. Now I'm going to test Heat Outdoors' claim that it's perfectly safe to spray the Empire with water. Now, I don't know about you, but from a very young age I was taught that water and electricity are two mutually incompatible things. So I don't know, is this going to be my entry for the Darwin Awards? Well, let's see. Look at that! So there we have it. If you're after the maximum amount of heat in a fixed space and you've got somewhere you can wall mount a heater, then the Fatboy 2.4 is still the big daddy of all heaters. But if it's portability you're after, then it's hard to imagine you could beat the Empire here, with all its safety features and attention to detail. If you know anybody who might be in the market for a garden heater this summer, do share this video. Otherwise, till the next time, I've been Arlo Guthrie. Bye-bye.